Hi there, I'm Phil, and welcome to another of my story analysis videos, where I take a deep dive into a film in terms of its story structure, character arcs, and themes. Today, we're looking at Saving Private Ryan. Make sure you've seen the film, spoilers ahead, and also some moments of graphic violence, so be prepared. Released in 1998, directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Robert Rodat, and starring, of course, Tom Hanks. When Robert Rodat pitched this idea to Paramount, the script was not yet written, but he had the basic idea of the mission that Tom Hanks' Captain Miller goes on, and they commissioned the screenplay for the film from that. The film is, of course, nearly 3 hours long, but it still has, essentially, a 3-act structure. And because this is an epic World War II film, there are some large set-piece battle sequences, of course, so the plot is relatively straightforward when it comes down to it.
You have to find this guy and send him home. So ultimately it's about saving one guy's life so he can go home to his mom. That's a very simple story to be told against a huge backdrop.
Our inciting incident is that opening battle. After the preliminary scene of the older Ryan at the Normandy cemetery, we have the storming of Omaha Beach, a lengthy 20-plus minute sequence. This has, of course, been lauded as one of the most realistic depictions of a battle from World War II. And it was at the time incredibly graphic. It still is, but it was at the time one of the most graphic sequences ever put to film.
The ramp went down on the landing craft, and I saw 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of guys that I could see the back of their helmets just literally get blown to bits. And suddenly the air is pink with this pink mist, and I've got bits and pieces of blood and guts all over me.
Nobody has ever seen this war examined in this way. I know when I saw it, I had this visceral reaction to the combat because it doesn't pull any punches.
Through that first 25 or 26 minutes of the film, you don't ever want to see anybody get killed again, no matter what their uniform is, no matter what they stand for, because the carnage is just, it's too hard to fathom.
What it really was like was an X-rated war. All war, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, every war is an X-rated war. I did have a line that I drew in the sand, so to speak, of Omaha Beach, that I didn't cross. I got up to the line and never crossed it. I didn't really put on film all that I could have put on film about war, but it is pretty damn close.
This opening battle sequence isn't in itself our inciting incident. It's a prelude to it. The real inciting incident comes at the very end of the battle, when we focus in on this particular body. That, of course, leads us back to command, and this moment right here is our real inciting incident. When she notices that these are 3 brothers who've all died in battle, and their mother is about to get 3 telegrams all at once, that leads the general to make this decision.
The boy's alive. We are going to send somebody to find him. And we are going to get him the hell out of there.
That's our inciting incident. That then leads almost immediately into what is effectively our first act turning point, when Captain Miller gets the mission to go and save the 4th brother, James Ryan.
It's not going to be easy finding one particular soldier in the middle of this whole goddamn war.
Finding a needle in a stack of needles.
Once he assembles his team and they're on their way, we're into Act 2. So it's not unusual for an inciting incident to come at the end of an opening sequence. It is unusual for that opening sequence to be pretty much the entire Act 1, and for our first act turning point to effectively come in the very next scene. But that's the way this opening is structured. Like any great epic or war film, we bounce between big set-piece action sequences and basically people talking in rooms. Or in this case, people talking as they walk across a field.
Well, what's your book about?
Hey, what's your rifle?
Actually, it's supposed to be about the bond of brotherhood that developed between soldiers during war.
Brotherhood? What do you know about brotherhood?
Now we begin to get to know our main characters. We understand Captain Miller and where he's coming from.
We all have orders and we have to follow them. That supersedes everything, including your mother's.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Even if you think the mission's FUBAR, sir?
Especially if you think the mission's FUBAR.
And as these characters complain about the validity of this mission, we start to see the beginning of what will become the growth arc for Captain Miller, just following orders.
At the heart of this story really is the morality play of, is it right to save Private Ryan, who has a mother to return home to? But these 8 guys might not be around to return home to their moms.
And while Tom Hanks as Captain Miller is our central character, our main protagonist in this, it's not Private Ryan, obviously. We don't meet him till the end. Our POV character for much of this story becomes the young translator, Private Upham.
What's Fuba? Oh, it's German. Yeah. Never heard of that.
He is inexperienced in all of this. He's never been in battle. So he becomes our way in because he's not one of them yet. So the film essentially moves between set-piece action sequences,
Most of the German fire now is concentrated to the westward.
and relationship-developing character moments.
You may have to get yourself a new line of work. This one doesn't seem to agree with you anymore.
And I should say here, when I say action sequence, I don't mean that this is an action film. I just mean the battle sequences, in contrast to the dialogue scenes.
I got a couple of brothers myself.
Oh,
Good luck.
thank you.
No, I mean it. Find them. Get them home.
The next main action sequence becomes the wounding and ultimate death of the Vin Diesel character, Private Capazzo. And this is the only moment in the film, really, where we get a female character. The French family and the young girl in particular that Capazzo is trying to take with them and save. War is a man's bloody business after all. It's also worth noting that while the film is historically accurate in much of what it portrays, the opening battle did happen after all, and there was a case of a set of brothers similar to the Ryans in this film, but they did not suffer the same consequences that the Ryans do. That said, many of the other battle sequences, in particular the battle at the end in the town of Ramel, that's a fictional town where they're fighting over the bridge.
Ramel is on the Margaret River right here, just to the southwest of us.
But those kinds of battles over bridges did happen during the D-Day invasion. So the A-plot for the film is essentially the mission, save Private Ryan. That's pretty straightforward. The B-plot is the growth arc for Tom Hanks's Miller. Now at the beginning, he's just a soldier who will fulfill the mission, even if he doesn't agree with it.
I say this is an excellent mission, sir, with an extremely valuable objective, sir. Worthy of my best efforts, sir. Moreover, I feel heartfelt sorrow for the mother of Private James Ryan, and I'm willing to lay down my life and the lives of my men, especially you, Rydman, to ease her suffering.
Now this is said sarcastically, of course, but at the end, that's exactly what he does. And he's also a man who wants to keep his home life and his work life, his soldier life, separate. He will not tell the others what his job was back home.
What's the pool up to? I think it's around 300, sir. Well, when it gets up to 500, I'll give you the answers and we'll split the money. How about that?
He doesn't talk about home. And this line here pretty much represents his attitude for most of the film.
I don't know anything about Ryan. I don't care. Man means nothing to me. It's just a name. But if, if going to Ramel and finding him so he can go home, if that earns me the right to get back to my wife, well, then that's my mission.
The midpoint of the film is not quite as clear-cut. It's the moment when all of them are looking through the dog tags trying to find Ryan amongst them and calling out the names. This foreshadows Miller's statement that Ryan is just a name. And he rationalizes all of this when he talks about the numbers.
Do you know how many men I've lost under my command?
How many?
94. But that means I've saved the lives of 10 times that many, doesn't it? Maybe even 20, right?
Goddamn airboats watching.
In this moment, we see Miller have doubts about what they're doing and realize, I think in that moment, in that reaction shot, that he realizes, no, Ryan is a human being, not just a dog tag. That's the midpoint growth arc for Miller as a character, starting to think of Private Ryan as a real person. And the midpoint for the A-plot comes immediately after that beat, when he starts calling out the name.
Ryan! Anybody know Ryan? 101st Airborne?
And they find someone who knows him.
You know Private Ryan? Who? Private Ryan? James Ryan?
Jimmy Ryan?
James Francis Ryan.
No, James Francis Ryan.
Now they know where Ryan is, but before they can find him, they divert.
We can still skip it and accomplish our mission. I mean, this isn't our mission, right, sir?
Oh, that's what you want to do, Malish? You just want to leave it here so they can ambush the next company that comes along?
No, sir, that's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying it seems like an unnecessary risk given our objective, sir.
Our objective is to win the war.
This is telling for the growth arc of Miller. He's not simply fulfilling the mission of finding Ryan and bringing him home. He's now fulfilling a different mission, which is protect every man that he can, even if it puts themselves in danger, even if it means diverting from their mission. And as a result, one of his men is killed.
Ask this piece of shit if he's the one who shot Wade. Ask him!
Sir, you're gonna let them kill him? This is not right.
You can help him with the bodies.
Or make the wrong decision and end up inadvertently getting 20 of your guys killed, or 200 of your guys killed, or just 2 of your guys killed. I don't know how you live under that kind of stress. I don't know how you combat that type of worry. And yet that was day in and day out an absolute fact of the life of a guy like Captain John Miller in the 2nd Rangers. How do you he has all sorts of self-defense mechanisms in place. I mean, he's a bit of a mystery. He's not really open to his men. They don't know anything about him. And it has to be that way, because if he got close to somebody and lost them, it made it 5 times worse than it would be if they were just a name and a number.
And to prevent his men killing this German soldier, who's begged for his life, when Miller lets him go,
Turns himself into the first Allied patrol he comes across.
You gotta be kidding me. We'll let him go?
He's a POW, Ryan. Can't take him with us.
he does the thing he would not do at the beginning, which is, he tells them what his job was.
I'm a school teacher.
And in this way, he calms them down.
I teach English composition. This little town called Abley, Pennsylvania.
But he's also broken his own rule of never letting home and war mix.
Sometimes I wonder if I've changed so much, my wife is even going to recognize me whenever it is I get back to her.
Then, of course, they find Private Ryan. This becomes our second act turning point.
James Francis Ryan?
Yes, sir. How'd you guess that?
Matt Damon, who at the time he was cast was not a major star. He was meant to be an unknown actor. And in fact, he got cast while he was making Good Will Hunting.
So Robin went down to see him and took me along and introduced me, and Mr. Spielberg, nice to meet you. And he said, "Wait, weren't you in Courage Under Fire?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "You were a lot thinner then." And I said, "Yeah, I lost weight for the part." And he said, "Oh, okay." And 2 weeks later, I get a call that I got the job. I found out in England from him that he had seen the film with his wife, Courage Under Fire, and he said, "That's the guy I want to play Private Ryan, except he's too skinny." So it was this totally serendipitous occurrence that Robin brought me down there.
But then, of course, he won the Oscar for Best Screenplay for Good Will Hunting and became a star overnight. So by the time Saving Private Ryan came out, they have a major star playing young Private Ryan.
You came all the way out here to tell me that?
You're going home. Our orders are to bring you back.
The real second act turning point here, though, is not that they find him. It's that Private Ryan chooses to stay.
I have my orders too, sir. They don't include me abandoning my post.
I understand that, but this changes things.
I don't see that it does, sir.
He doesn't want to leave. They can't fulfill their mission.
I think hearing the news that your 3 brothers have been killed and feeling the camaraderie that you feel with other soldiers, real soldiers, veterans I've interviewed, and they talk about what they would do for people in their unit, I could see why he would stay.
The key choice moment here is twofold. Private Ryan choosing to stay, and Captain Miller also choosing to stay and help. although it's Tom Sizemore's Hovarth that convinces him.
Someday we might look back on this and decide that Saving Private Ryan was the one decent thing we were able to pull out of this whole god-awful shitty mess.
This again is off mission. This is him fighting for the larger good, not just following orders and trying to get through the war alive so he can get back home to his wife, but doing what the war is fundamentally about and defending his fellow man, and defending France, and defending this town. People he doesn't even know.
No, Ryan, get down, get down!
This is no longer a selfish mission on his behalf. He's doing it for the greater good. But of course, that choice means he won't make it home. And his final line, of course?
Earn this. Earn it.
So does young Private Ryan have an arc? He's the title character, after all. We only meet him in the third act of the film. And we only get one scene, really, where we get to know him properly. In that downtime before the battle, when he and Captain Miller had this conversation.
I can't see my brother's faces. And I've been trying, and I can't see their faces at all. Has that ever happened to you?
So does Ryan have an arc? I would say that his first act is what we see in the third act of the film. And the major turning point for him is he survives that battle and does get to go home. And the third act for him is the old man who appears at the graveside and says this.
Every day, I think about what you said to me that day on the bridge. Tell me I have led a good life.
What?
Tell me I'm a good man.
His entire life, in between those two moments, was Act 2 of his arc.
And I think what Spielberg wants is for us to be asking ourselves that question every day and earning it every day.
So while this is a very long film, it is taken up with lengthy battle sequences. And within those sequences, there are character moments. There is character development, especially for young Private Upman, when he supports letting that German soldier go, the one they call Steamboat Willie.
Right, this is bullshit. Shooting a prisoner, that'd
Boom,
be
shut
okay.
your
That's
mouth.
against the goddamn rules.
And then panics in the battle at the end, and people die as a result. But his growth arc is when he sees Steamboat Willie again. And that's the one person in the entire war so far that he actually does kill. Because he betrayed their trust. So it's a pretty straightforward three-act structure when it comes down to it. The first act is the opening battle, Inciting Incident. The second act is the search for Private Ryan. And the third act is once they find Private Ryan. And this is true of most epic stories. Big set-piece action sequences with character and relationship in the quiet moments in between. And of course, I should mention the cinematography here by Janusz Kaminski, Spielberg's longtime collaborator, is famous, especially for that opening sequence, using a high shutter speed or shutter angle to get that realism in that opening sequence. So that's my take on Saving Private Ryan. If you'd like to learn more about filmmaking, check out my book, linked in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
This Ryan better be worth it. He'd better go home, cure some disease, or invent a longer-lasting light bulb or something. The truth is, I wouldn't trade 10 Ryans for one Vecchio or one Caparzo.